do think that humanity's dependence on favourable conditions is well understood. Now, obviously people don't always understand the detail, but I think there's a wide enough understanding that we need to maintain a favourable environment to also maintain strong political support for strong action on issues like climate change. And amongst resource-dependent industries like agriculture, fisheries, forestry, of course there's a good understanding amongst the people involved in those of the sorts of things that they need to do in order to maintain the quality of those resources. That'll leave people wondering, well, why don't we get decent policy? Why do we have so much opposition? And that's one of the challenges that we need to face. Well, look, the obvious thing at the moment is the big lineup of vested interests who are well-resourced and have great coverage in the dominant media circles to taking any sort of strong policy. Now, even though most people support action on things like climate change, it doesn't take much to confuse people about what's the best course of action. In order to promote policy, particularly a policy that's going to cost people money, you've got to have a really strong narrative, a really clear rationale. To sow doubt, you don't need to have a clear and rational policy alternative. You just need to throw around misinformation and sources of confusion. And that means that people end up being really strongly supportive of things like renewable energy and energy efficiency, but really not sure about carbon trading and pricing and environmental taxes and what does this all mean and is it really going to make a change. So we end up with a situation where a small number of vested interests with a lot of influence are able to confuse the politics and stand in the way of getting policy implemented. Well, isn't that a great question? One policy to solve all the problems. I think one of the difficulties we face is taking the very good understanding we have of what the risks are associated with environmental change and turning that into a really clear understanding of what we do on a day-to-day basis, here and now, in people's real lives, in people's real activities, real businesses, and so on. So I think what we need to start doing is getting a much better connection between our understanding of risks and our understanding of what we can do now that creates what you might call no regrets policies. There's that cartoon that's done the rounds of social media. What if we address poverty? What if we address food security? What if we protect forests? And it all turns out that climate change risks weren't quite as great as we expected. Well, wouldn't that have been a great win? Now, of course, those risks are there, but all these things that we can do to create co-benefits, they're also there. And we need to do those anyway because the polarised politics of climate change crowds out, I should say, all the other really critical social and environmental issues that we need to be addressing.